we're like, we're going to go bigger than you. Naturally, our opponent immediately says, no, not really. Greetings, everyone. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that you are here. Folks, we are back playing Magic the Gathering Arena, as always, here on the channel, trying to get some Arming Gala to work. Folks, we played this deck more than one time on the stream, actually. I played it when we were at DreamHack Dallas. A blast, by the way. Highly recommended. And we did great. Admittedly, I wasn't on my own home computer, so I wasn't able to track our wins and losses, though we climbed the ladder in a relatively robust manner. We definitely went up the ladder, so I know we had a positive win rate. I don't know how much. But then we also ended up playing it on stream a different day when I built a bad deck, which occasionally happens, you know? And we ended up going 60% to a win rate. 75% win rate on the play, 50% on the draw. We went 18 and 12 was the record, right? So, and then in conjunction with being I think we were actually above 60% the first time we played it. So we're probably in the 63 or 64% win rate over a significant sample size with this deck. And more importantly than all those things, I can tell you, it has been a blast to play. So much fun. Folks, this brand new card, Arming Gala. At the beginning of your end step, creatures you control, creature cards in your hand, library, and graveyard perpetually get +1/+1. Notably at the beginning of the end step. So if we cast this during our main phase, go to the end of the turn, all of our stuff grows. Then when they untap and they Banishing Light it or Disenchant it or whatever the heck, they get rid of this. We never got to untap with it. We never had it on our turn. Doesn't matter. For the rest of the game, every single card in our deck, it has gotten +1/+1. So our Tenacious Pups, now 2/3s. Our, Werewolf Pack Leaders, 4/4s. Old Growth Trolls, 5/5s, right? That alone, one trigger at the end step can change the course of the entire game. Just absolutely alters the way everything for the rest of the game will happen. Heaven forbid they don't have answers. This thing gets out of hand. We've had multiple Arming Galas on the battlefield at once, and the things get ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So I can't help but bring it to you folks on the YouTube because honestly, I've just had so much fun playing this. Admittedly, I am a little bit of a Selesnya mage from way back, and I've always loved the green-white little kid archetype where we just slam big creatures and smile at you from across the table, you know? So that's kind of what this deck is doing. I'm not surprised it appeals to me, and maybe it may or may not appeal to you. I don't know. But I can say it's great. As far as the rest of things going on in the deck, beyond Arming Gala, green cards are good. You should play them. Some white cards that are also good, and you should play them. You know, like we're playing green and white cards. Put them in your deck, essentially, right? So I do a couple of ones I would mention. A Legion Angel is both really, really good here because it keeps us flush with action. But notably, the Legion Angels don't grow when they're in the sideboard. So both you probably should be playing this card, but be aware that the only place the cards don't grow is in your sideboard. Then I would also say that don't build this without Tenacious Pup. Normally, Tenacious Pup is great, and it should probably be played even more often than it is. But its body is a liability. It's just a 1/2. It doesn't really ever do anything. The fact that Arming Gala will grow it into a 2/3 immediately, it makes it reasonable. And then eventually it'll be a 3/4, a 4/5. Like, this card alone will make your opponent's life difficult. But more importantly, giving vigilance to gigantic creatures because of Arming Gala, giving trample to gigantic creatures, very, very important. And on that note, we do have a couple of key tramplers. Workshop Warchief, trample. Geistpack Alpha, trample. Old Growth Troll, trample. Titan of Industry, trample, right? For those things. Of course, Werewolf Pack Leader being able to gain trample, very important. Notably, Kazandu Mammoth in here as land drop, but also being able to get trample, very good. You know, I don't think I need to explain any more of this. Let's get to the game, shall we? All right, folks, here we are up against Zeta. Good luck, Zeta. yeah, I think this hand is at least fine, if not good. We do have a Topiary Stomper kind of hiding out behind my shoulder here. It's mirrored, and I have dyslexia, so I always move the wrong way when I'm like, oh, it's over there. Oh, over there. Yeah, I'm sorry. But anyway, Topiary Stomper over there, and the hand looks fine, right? So we're going to start on Kazandu Mammoth, but on Kazandu Valley's side, because we do need to make sure we make all of our land drops, pick up a Geistpack Alpha for the turn, going to slam a Tenacious Pup, and go with Arctic Treeline for the turn. Tenacious Pup, coming down here, we would really ideally want to be able to go with like Topiary Stomper and just get a really large thing, but if we don't make it to the lands, then it never does anything, and the counters are essentially wasted. Little bit of tension there about whether or not, or which direction to go. May have to just Brutal Cathar, honestly. Inconvenient, but it is what it is. And we may elect to go with Luminarch Aspirant, because just putting the counters on there is kind of nice, right? Opponent just goes with Rune of Sustenance. Crashes in for 2. Get a little life. Now the land makes it interesting, and we do eventually decide, you know what? No, it's okay. Since we drew the land, let's just get a Topiary Stomper out of the battlefield, crash in for 1. Because now we're only a couple of lands off of Topiary Stomper being threatening, and it's already large, right? We want to be drawing our Arming Gala, right? So being able to do that would be really good. It's also of note that since we're up against runes, they can just go off at a moment's, at the drop of a hat, at the moment's notice. So being able to set ourselves up for the Topiary Stomper grabbing a land means we can play a land next turn, have Brutal Cathar, which disrupts their game plan, but also Luminarch Aspirant, which advances our game plan, is kind of nice, should that be required. So for now, our opponent goes with another Rune of Sustenance, growing up their Generous Visitor. Draws a card, crashes in, gonna gain a little bit of life. Inconvenient, not thrilled about these things, but it is good that they felt like they needed to do that. So that gives us the freedom to, just slam a Brutal Cathar, get that thing out of the way, go with Luminarch Aspirant, advance our, board position on multiple axes, I'm not sure. And also disrupt our opponent's game plan by getting that Generous Visitor out of the way. The thing we're concerned about is them going with a red land and going to Showdown of the Scalds. That was the thing we were worried about. With Generous Visitor still on the battlefield, that could have been a disaster. Without it, our opponent scoops it up. So GG, Zeta, GG. All right, folks, here we are up against Toes. Good luck, Toes, I guess. Folks, hey, we have cards and Arming Galas. What more could we possibly ask for? Uh-oh. Falconwrath Pit Fighter. That's scary. And Wayward Guide Beast. That's also scary. Opponent goes with just crashes in, beats down, advances the board with a land, and a Kamano faces Kakazan. They are getting aggressive, and they want to be ready. Well, we briefly debate going about it differently. We go with Tenacious Pup here, because Tenacious Pup trades with Falconwrath Pit Fighter. But we want to get down creatures that are able to block well enough to not get killed by our opponent just having creatures that grow. We were afraid they would cast a 2/2 here, right? And it would be a 3/3. And then it would just trade with our Werewolf Pack Leader, and we would feel bad, right? So our opponent does not get in with Falconwrath Pit Fighter. We do just chump, absolute snap off the chump, because we know our opponent is trying to get aggressive here, and they want to take that land back to hand and be able to cast a spell, right? They don't have a lot of land drops, clearly. Well, okay, so we're going to deny them the ability to keep playing lands. They do have the shock, inconvenient. We dropped a 10, terrifying. But we get a land off the top. That is very, very good news. We elect Werewolf Pack Leader and Luminarch Aspirant. Luminarch Aspirant getting the counter on itself, again, just so we can trade. No, we don't want to trade Luminarch Aspirant. We would love for Luminarch Aspirant to grow out of control, get so large, it's, unstoppable. We're not about that life. We're just trying to weather the storm, survive. Our mono red opponent has 340 cards in hand and only one land. That means they're all action and probably all 1-drops for what it's worth. And sure enough, it continues to play out. Play with fire. hitting our Werewolf pack leader, we just go with Geistpack Alpha. Ride this train. You want to keep killing our stuff? Great. Fine. These things are fine. We block. Shock me. Hit it. Kill our Geistpack Alpha. You know what's going to happen when you kill a Geistpack Alpha? It gets a brother. Geistpack Alpha, join the party. Toes, sitting on 1 land, says, okay, we've run out of burn spells. We can no longer win this game, and I agree. We gotcha. GG, Toes. GG. All right, folks, we are up against Kinsed. Good luck, Kinsed. And yeah, this is another hand where we've got our Arming Gala, and darn it, we want to play it. If you've been able to be around when we've been on the stream, you'll know. We play this card on the regular. It's always works out. But so far, for whatever reason, it has not yet made it to the battlefield. So we're like, no, we're keeping another hand with Arming Gala, and we're going to cast it this time, darn it. I don't care what happens. And our opponent naturally is playing blue and white cards, which leads us to believe they may be playing counter spells, which makes us sad inside. So we play we get in for combat, have our opponent take a couple of damage, and try and cast Werewolf Pack Leader. Our opponent divide by zeros, returns it to hand, which is actually kind of nice because then the counters stay on our A-Luminarch Aspirant. Opponent slams Key to the Archive without hesitation and discards a Faithful Mending. Makes us sad. Sitting here trying to debate whether we're supposed to Yasharn or Werewolf Pack Leader here. We decide to Yasharn just to get our land drops, darn it, so we don't end up getting stuck on lands. We need to be able to get this Arming Gala down and make every card in our deck threatening. So, that's currently the plan. Opponent has Time Warp off of Key to the Archive, then Environmental Sciences to add a land to hand, gain a couple of life. Kinsed up to 450 mana, or 8 as it were, but it feels like 450. They go and get Teachings of the Archaics off a Divide by Zero and draw some cards. 2 mana available. Sit here trying to decide which direction we're supposed to go, and we decide, no, we're playing Arming Gala. Let's arm it. You want to destroy our Arming Gala next turn? Great. They would have had to have specifically a negate effect or whatever, because the 2 mana, unlikely, and we already knew what they got. They didn't get... Oh. Velomachus! Opponent gets Divide by Zero, sends back Yasharn. We are not thrilled by that. They go and get a Mascot Exhibition. These things make us sad. Brutal Cathar, though, does not get countered, and Velomachus goes away. That much makes us feel good. Folks, this game is a whirlwind of emotions, but Arming Gala has stayed on the battlefield for a second time. All of our creatures getting +2/+2 perpetually. Then they hit us with a Mascot Exhibition, which these creatures are normally quite large and threatening. They do not appear very large and threatening to us. Hold on just a darn minute, folks. We get another Arming Gala off the top. We think real hard about, like, maybe we want to do this thing. Let's get that thing out of the way or whatever. But then we decide, no, we have another Brutal Cathar, so we decide to throw away a Brutal Cathar, knowing that we can get that Velomachus back anyway. If they had a removal spell, they would have messed up our life. But that was always going to be true, right? They were always going to get the Velomachus back if they had a removal spell. So we just wanted to capitalize, get their life total down. You know, try and get them. We can't give them forever. Control decks are always going to have the long game. You know, they're just a couple of board sweepers and counterspells away from winning the game. So let's try and capitalize. Let's try and make them have it. And sure enough, they go with All-Run God of the Cosmos. And that's a good one. 6/6. Goes, name's instant. It's a land. So we just say, you know, we have a lot of trampling power here. You can seat, or you can Wandering Emperor or whatever, but it's not going to get you there. They do have an Iganjo. Not good enough. Arming Gala, too strong. GG, Ken said. GG. Alright, folks, here we are up against Kimukatsu, and, you know, this hand looks keepable. We have an Avabruck Caretaker over here behind our shoulder. I'm doing it again. I'm always doing it again. Oh my gosh. Tenacious Pup comes down. Gives counters to our Werewolf Pack Leader. We will not suicide it. We're not those kind of people. We like to protect our puppy. Oh no, Book of Exalted Deeds. That's concerning. Hopefully there's no Facebook over there. We don't really have a whole lot of recourse to that. We do decide though that Werewolf Pack Leader can just get in. We expect them to jump in front, but they decide not to. That must mean they're intending to trade. Sigarda's Splendor comes down. Okay, that is unexpected. We get a Werewolf pack leader. They take it down to 12. Okay, fine. Geistpack Alpha, come on down. Yeah, we're expecting a board sweeper here, like land Doomscar or whatever. It doesn't happen. Our opponent's in trouble. Kimukatsu, I'm sure you have a long-term game plan. The problem for you is we're getting it done right now. What are you going to do? Take 9? The answer is yes. We just go, okay, well, fine. Arming Gala. Sweep the board. Do what you got to do. Geistpack Alpha. Tutor us up another thing. Our entire game plan is already online. You've got to do something, and you've got to do it now. Key to the Archive does not do it. Discards and Elspeth. I mean, okay, Kimukatsu. Okay. Fine. Gotcha. GG. GG. All right, folks. We're up against I don't even know where to begin with that name, but good luck, opponent. They go with a little headquarter action. We're going to go with Tenacious Pup, Tenacious Pup. Don't mind if I do. Going to leave behind a Brutal Cathar, Tenacious Pup, Topiary Stomper, and Geistpack Alpha all in hand. Our opponent goes with another tap land. This time it's a Jetmir Garden. Our opponent's doing a whole bunch of multicolor stuff over there, and it makes us concerned. Do we just run out the Tenacious Pup here? We had prepared for Topiary Stomper. We needed a land. Didn't get it. Not a good feeling. Oh, no. Divine Purge. And still no other land. We've got to pass the turn back because the Divine Purge just sends us back to the Stone Age, and we don't have anything to do now. That was absolutely brutal. Our opponent getting a little fortunate, and us getting a little unlucky. We do finally get a land off the top. Topiary Stomper joins the party. Hey. Find the old gods. Getting us. Well, alright, fine. You know what? Arming Gala. Do the thing. Admittedly, the Tenacious Pups don't grow because they're exiled. But, fine. Oh, Kami War! Folks, us missing those land drops, that was just absolutely uncalled for. Our deck really should apologize to us, I think. We decide to get down a Luminarch Aspirant and Tenacious Pup, trying to just be as mana efficient as possible. Brutal Cathar is good interaction. Opponent sends back the Tenacious Pup to our hand. We just discard it. We're not that interested. Opponent has another Kami War. Folks, their deck is named after that card. And they're getting a whole bunch of them, you know? It makes us sad. But alas, it is what it is. We decide to Geistpack Alpha because surely there's no way they have 3 of them. We do expect that they're going to return our Geistpack Alpha, but they don't. Oh my goodness. They returned their other Kami War. I did not foresee that interaction, so in retrospect, it was a bit of a punt. But, you know, turns out they gave us an opportunity to learn, so you've always got to appreciate that. We do use the Titan of Industry to get rid of the other Kami War. It does flip over now as a 6/6 trample. We have an 8/8 trample reach, though, so there's that. Can get in front of our opponent, but we're all out of cards. We have none of them. Sanctuary Warden. Folks, this just keeps going from bad to worse. Celestis gonna gain some life, do a little looting, draw some cards, discard some cards, and pass the turn. Hey, Avabruck Caretaker, now we're talking. It's nighttime. Heck yeah. You know what? Get in. Let's do this. Avabruck Caretaker off the top is exactly the sort of thing we were looking for. Our opponent decides to tag team our 10/10. We're not pleased about that necessarily, but we were happy to be able to get rid of the other Kami War before it messed everything up. With Howline's Wranglers, or I'm sorry, Huntmasters here, we're like, we're gonna go bigger than you. Naturally, our opponent immediately says, no, not really. And then they send a dagger. Fable of the Mirror Breaker with infinite targets. Titan of Industries, Sanctuary Wardens. Just all of this is disgusting. And we don't have our Arming Galas down anymore. So we, Brutal Cathar, take away their Titan of Industry. It is no longer nighttime. So Avabruck Caretaker only gives a couple of 1/1 counters. We feel like we've got to hold back because the attacks just aren't very good here. In retrospect, I think we were supposed to send, because they were just going to chump it anyway. It was just going to be a 1/1. Finding the Old Gods, awkwardly coming down, getting that Titan of Industry back. I'm beginning to feel like I want out of this game because this has been an absolutely brutal beating, where our opponent has just always got the correct cards. You know, part of that is the Celestis, folks. I'm not even whining this time. It's like I'm taking this opportunity to point out that the Celestis is a very powerful card for this reason. You know, it just keeps you having action, right? So, well, we finally draw our Arming Gala off the top, which is great. We are very pleased about that. Counters. I'm going to go over here on the Tenacious P, because with the Arming Gala, it will grow up into a reasonable sized creature. Even just this turn, it becomes a 4/5, right? And a 4/5 can stonewall those little rhinos over there quite well. Unfortunately, we still don't feel like we have good attacks because, darn it, that shield counter on the Titan of Industry is really, really brutal. No! Oh my gosh! Is that really all? Like, they've cast Kami War 4 times. Admittedly, the one was twice. So you can only cry so much. But, like, come on, man. You know? Feels brutal. All right, so we elect to flip our Hollowhench Huntmaster. Make it nighttime. They get to do a little looting with the Celestis, so it was a questionable play. But, you know, what do you do? Opponent has Binding the Old Gods back in hand by invitation only. This is a comedy of value for whatever our opponent's doing over there on the Kami War side. They Reflection of Kikijiki, a Titan of Industry, putting a shield counter back on the Sanctuary Warden. Sanctuary Warden attacks along with the rest of the stuff, and we are just happy it's over. Good lord. Good game, opponent. But good lord, that was vicious. All right. Simone Galina, our next opponent. They go with a Forest and a Generous Visitor. Oh no, it's Runes. Yuck. That's never what you want to see on the other side of the battlefield, you know? Though admittedly, I think our win rate against Runes is actually quite respectable, so I can't actually complain about it, but oh crud. Generous Visitor growing quickly with the Rune of Speed and the 1/1 counter. Attacks in for 3. Hey, don't mind if I do. Brutal Cathar coming off the top. Just in time. We're worried still. Just the one piece of interaction, and they are going to be doing nasty things. We would like you to suicide your Generous Visitor, please, if you don't mind just doing that for us real quick. But no, it's Machiko's Reign of Truth instead. Rather than suiciding, they're going to crash in for 6. We drop to 11, feeling bad. And we just don't feel like we have a choice. Got to get rid of the Generous Visitor. Crash in for 3. Pass the turn. Machiko's Reign of Truth has no one to buff. Hits our Werewolf pack leader. Thank you very much. It's tapped. It doesn't matter. Is it showdown time? Please no? Of course it is. Man, inconvenient. All right. The good news is they hit hit 3 lands. So that's real good news. But they did get the champion, which is not great news. We decided to flip it tonight because, again, we don't have any other interaction here. So we pump our Werewolf pack leader, get a good clock on, hit him down to 10, and prepare ourselves for flipping the Moonrage Brute back. Of course, again, Rune's strength lies in casting a million spells. So we kind of expected them to be all... That we're going to cast 2 spells this turn. Let's be real here. So by flipping the Moonrage Brute, we are able to capitalize on the fact that we only have just the 1 removal spell, but punish our opponent for doing what Runes does, right? Now we have some interesting decisions here. We want the Arming Gala. That's literally the point of our deck. Right? But our opponent is not in the danger zone anymore. They've gained a bunch of life. We are now in the danger zone at 6, so we have to pass. We decide to go with both Werewolf Pack Leader and Topiary Stomper just to get enough bodies onto the battlefield. No! You had your one. You don't need more showdowns. You already had one. It's kind of like showdown at home, except the opposite. Feels bad. Yuck. Portrait of Machiko, though, already kind of large. With the Showdown of Skulls going to continue to grow. Machiko's Reign of Truth going to grow it further until the end of turn. It's a 9/9. Folks, I'm not great at math, but I can tell you that's enough to kill us. So we block. Fortunately enough, Brutal Cathar coming off the top is a good draw. We are quite pleased about that. But we are trying to decide how to go about this. Because Titan of Industry is also a good draw, right? So we're going to send with our creatures, draw another card just to make sure to inform our decision. It was a second Brutal Cathar. Interesting. That changes a lot. Because now we can pump the Werewolf Pack Leader if we want, do a little more damage, and just cast a Brutal Cathar. Or we just advance our board with Titan of Industry and destroy an artifact or enchantment. That was our original plan. We decide to stick to it. It was almost the Showdown of the Skulls. And I really wanted to. The problem is the Machiko's Reign of Truth is going to grow the other Machiko, and that was going to be a 50-50 next turn, you know? Whereas this way, they've got to put a bunch of counters around and stuff, and the counters go away when we Brutal Cathar, right? So we elect to go this way. The little Rhino token is like looking at this going, it's me, isn't it? I'm the sacrificial lamb. And we're like, yeah, sorry, you know? But we are not afraid of blocking with as much as necessary to make our opponent's life difficult as best as we can manage, right? They do find another Rune of Sustenance. Darn it, we were pressuring their life total so good. One of the worst things about runes is just how quickly they can turn what was a very effective race into not a very effective race anymore. Trying to decide how to go about it, we do just say, sorry, Rhino. Give our best to the family or whatever, and send it away. Then we go with Brutal Cathar, and get rid of a bunch of stuff. We do go with Topiary Stomper, Werewolf, Pack Leader as attackers. Trying to decide if we want to go with the Titan of Industry or not, because the Showdown of Skulls very, very likely to grow the creatures large enough. The Titan of Industry isn't a very good blocker, but as we can tell right here, it is already a very effective attacker. So, Machiko's Reign of Truth flips over. Doesn't give the buff this time. A third Showdown of the Skulls, folks. How do they always have it? Darn it. Ugh. We feel like we are just battling so hard, but making very little headway because of those darn showdowns. We've dealt so much damage, you know, so much damage. But the good news here, Titan of Industry trampling, Werewolf Pack Leader trampling, and our opponent does have to do a lot, and they don't currently have haste yet. If they come up with haste, all right, well, that Portrait of Machiko is going to spell disaster for us. But they're not yet there yet. And notably, their runes are cheap, but not free, because we got rid of the Jukai Naturalist they've cast. All right. Generous Visitor, putting counters in places. Showdown of Skulls, putting counters in places. Portrait of Machiko. Gigantic here. But they didn't get the tramp, or they didn't get the haste, folks. They didn't get the haste. Holy cow. We are very pleased. We decide to do the Avabruck Caretaker to throw counters around and just send with the team. I'm not great at math, but when the numbers are small enough, it's easier. And our opponent being at 3 life, I can tell you, we're going to do a little more than 3 to their face. So GG Simone Galuna. Holy cow, that was wild. All right, folks, we are back. We are back, and darn it, we had a blast. As always, this deck is just so much fun to play. Admittedly, maybe it's my style. Okay, you're probably right. Onboard advantage, do nothing enchantments. Yeah. Okay. It fits a John Likes Games sort of game plan, right? But I will say, for a do nothing enchantment, this is a really, really powerful do nothing enchantment. And by that, I mean, typically you tap out and play the card, and then nothing happens, right? This is as close as you can get to that. I mean, it is that, but it's also not that. Admittedly, if your opponent does have an immediate response at instant speed, it is that, because nothing happened. But as long as we get to the end step, which is relatively easy most of the time, it does give you something. And the thing it gives you is huge. Just +1/+1 is so powerful. As far as things we might do differently, I don't know. Our 2-drops have been awkward. I don't regret the Luminarch Aspirant, because as we already pointed out, we're throwing around trample. We have a fair amount of trample. So throwing counters onto trampling creatures is good. But I don't know. I'm not sure that it's felt good enough for sure, right? Similarly, the Catilda, it has been good ramp. It also gives us kind of extra copies of Arming Gala here. You know, later on in the game, just our deck is built around needing to grow. Not a lot, but just a little bit. And then we'll get you. Okay, well, if Catilda activates even just 1 time or 2 times, like, okay, well, then our opponent can be in a bit of a trouble. But it is possible our 2-drop slot could improve somehow if there were better fits for the deck than these. So if you find those, let me know. I would love to hear. I would also say that it probably shouldn't be 3-drops. Because, if anything, I think we want more Kazandu Mammoths to pad our land count. And our Old Growth Trolls are irreplaceable. And the Brutal Cathars are kind of irreplaceable as well. Because we don't have the ability to get white on 3 very often. We're trying to get green on 3 on the regular. Because Old Growth Troll is sick, right? So, maybe we could do like 2 more Skyclave Apparition. I don't know how you would cut it and make our curve not be ridiculous. That could be better as well, but I don't know that we can rely on white often enough. So I would be interested to see what you folks come up with there, if there's anything you can do, because I think we need to have 2-drops just to make our curve right, you know. So definitely get back with me and tell me how you feel about that. Also, folks, if you're not already subscribed, I would really appreciate it. It really, really helps the channel. Just headed towards that 1,000 subscribers is the key number we're looking for. So really appreciate all of you and your help in achieving that goal. I also have a Twitch stream, so come on over to John Likes Games at twitch.tv/JohnLikesGames and catch us there as well. So huge thank you to all of you who watched. I will catch you all next time. Good night.